Yo, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick, and this literally might be one of the best videos I ever did. All right, so check it out. Look, this is going to be underpinning a short video I just did a little earlier today. Okay, and I was talking about I never really sat back and thought about it. What was the name of America before it was America? And then like I knew like the 13 colonies. I remember that from school, but I didn't think about like pre-13 colonies, okay? What was the name of America? Because, so you got to remember this and think about this. So some of us who've been out of school for a little while, you kind of forgot about that 13 colonies thing, okay? Or the United Colonies thing, okay? And then, and some of us just probably wouldn't remember it at all. That's something that I probably would do, is go around and see how many people know the name of this land before it was named America, and see how many people even remember the 13 colonies or the United Colonies, okay? This is the thing though. So the name, right? You got to think. In 1492, that's supposedly when Columbus had came over, right? Now it was like the 1700s, I believe, before the first settlement over here with the British coming over here, okay, and starting the colonies. So the thing is, there was a long time in between Columbus finding this place, right, so to speak, finding this place, and then when the British came and set up their colonies. So even then, like, what was the name in between that time of Columbus coming over here? Because that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of it is not clear. Like, when Columbus came over here, did he declare it America? You know what I'm saying? Right then and there, or what? Because America got its name. Like, it got the name. This country got the name America once after 1776. Okay, once they separated from Britain, okay? So actually, it probably wasn't Columbus who named this place America. Make sense? You know what I mean? At first, it was the 13 colonies, and Columbus that came way before. All right, so that's just little small stuff you got to think about. And then I was like, so what did the native people actually call this land? Like when Columbus came over here, and before his ship settled, and they stepped on land, what would the people that was walking around here had called this land to identify it to other people? You know what I mean? Or what the other people all across the world call this piece of land? Okay, because we know that people knew about this land before Columbus. Um, Obviously, because you had people that was here, but I mean even all over the world, you had people that knew of this land. You know what I mean? So what did they refer to it as? Like little questions like that in your mind. You know what I'm saying? And then it got me thinking about how, like, then you think about it, like it was always it's been pyramids. They know it's pyramids over here, and you know, in Central America, and the part of the Americas that we in, North America and things like that. Like they have pyramids. They have all these things. They have caves with different hieroglyphs and different messages and things like that on it, all right over here. Things that we attribute to like ancient Egypt, you know what I mean? But a lot of these same things, different structures and things like that, a lot of this same culture is being found all over the world, in Europe, Africa, the Americas, okay? So it's funny because I didn't even think to tie this in at the time, but at the end of that short, I was like, it's all just Earth. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think, man, there's a lot of history that has been changed, whitewashed. A lot of history has been left out. It's things that they haven't even told us yet. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of stuff. So you got to factor all these things, guys. But if the thing is, if they finding out that right over here in the Americas, there's a whole lot of remnants of what we would think is ancient Egyptian culture. You know what I mean? Like they done found Hebrew over here, like tablets and things that was written in Hebrew, and different walls, different you know what I mean, different dwellings and dwellings and caves and things like that, on different rocks and structures and stone structures they find in like Hebrew language and different things like that, that indicated different hieroglyphs that indicated that this culture was all over the world. Like I said, pyramids, not just in Africa and Egypt, but all over the world. You know what I mean? And so it was just one culture. It was like one big culture. And whoever was, for example, like at the time, let's say it was Egypt. Okay, but where did the Egyptian civilization come from? You know what I mean? You gotta ask yourself these type of questions. Then they say, okay, well, Samaria and things like that. Well, where does Sumerian civilization come from and things like that? And you realize that wherever the central, like it was a dominant central, I guess you could say, civilization that pretty much ended up all over the world. I think I did something like this in the video. I said something like this in the video, how like even if you start off in Africa, if you start off in one part of your house and you own the whole house, are you just gonna stand in the living room the whole time, or eventually are you gonna work your way out to the different rooms and different in the kitchen and all those different things, right? So that's my point. Like, so even if civilization on this planet did start in Africa, naturally everybody is going to start off as one civilization for the most part, you know what I mean, for the sake of this video, like, you know what I mean. But then once they branch out, they're going to take their culture and things other places. Okay, so it may be that it's land, right, that the tradition or the older names for this land would have been whatever what we would call, like, for example, we call Egypt, right? And we know Egypt to be over there in Africa. And that is a country or a piece of land that is over there on a whole nother continent in Africa, right? But imagine the fact that, like, imagine that maybe America was also called Egypt. Like, look at it like a land, look at it like land mass. What if the land masses was different? What if continents were actually, some continents that are separated by water, what if they actually were connected at certain points? What if the whole world was connected and everything was around water, per se? Like, say if it was one big land mass, but then everything was around water. Now, I'm just saying that, like, just as a what if, like, you know what I mean, type of thing, just to get you thinking. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, perhaps, like, and so what would you, it's like, just to say, and it's all one big country. It's just called whatever. So what if America is Egypt? What if Egypt is Egypt over there, but what if America is also Egypt? You see what I mean? Think about little stuff like that. And then people have embassies, right? Like right now, you got embassies where, you got bases and things like that we're over here in America, but we have an embassy in a lot of countries, right? And things like that. We take our culture over there, and we interact with their cultures and things like that. So it's not necessarily to say that America was Egypt the whole time. Like you said, it could have been a thing where the Egyptians were so powerful at that time that, just like, like anybody else, they branched off and ended up over here and brought some of their culture over here and things like that. So that too. But I guess hopefully, I know this one has some nuggets in it. This one has some little nuggets in it, some little thought-provoking things to get you started if you ain't been started on certain research, and just get you thinking. Just an interesting video to get you thinking. Some of the things I was just talking about, like the what ifs, because, like I said, contrary to many beliefs, you know what I mean, they find it's pyramids all over the world. It's not just an Egyptian thing. It's crazy structures all over the world. Okay, it's not just an Egyptian thing. And then the thing about it is, also, cultures blend and merge too. Like, for example, I think my ancestry, you know what I mean, from a biblical standpoint, dates back to Hebrews, right? But this is why I don't like when people try to isolate things and they don't look at the big picture. So you got people that's under the Hebrew faith, and that's the thing when you make things a religion, okay? I'm not religious about any of it. I'm looking at it from historical facts, you know what I mean? I'm not just being religious like, oh, I'm a Hebrew, you know what I mean? I feel, and so therefore I don't like people who who like the Egyptian culture and verse and all that. Like, I believe the Hebrews and the Egyptians all meshed. Their culture was all the same, no different than how we all live together here in America. And let's say 200, 300, 400 years, 400,000 years go past, and they realize that we all live together. Don't we have many different cultures within this one society over here in America that all contribute to a culture? So I hate it when people, because like I might, like, I got a nice book bag that's an Egyptian themed book bag and things like that. And I know a lot of times when people see it, then someone like I got a nice Egyptian shirt, couple Egyptian things. Like, you can kind of tell that I'm a fan of the Egyptian culture, and I am, because I am a fan of beauty. I'm a fan of art. I'm a fan of history and things like that. But it doesn't mean that I have the religion of the ancient Egyptians, whatever their religion was, and that means you're into certain things because you like certain aspects of different cultures, because it's all our culture at the end of the day, and it was all meshed up and blended in now. So I do like the way that I love the beauty of the pyramids. I love the beauty of some of the jewelry and the way that the clothes and certain things about the culture that was very, very beautiful and admirable. You know what I mean? And we do that. We take from everybody's culture. We do that now. You know what I mean? We all steal from each other or bite each other over here in the Americas, okay? So, all different groups, we all make a contribution. It's all part of one culture. So you can appreciate and you can adopt certain things from cultures without it meaning that you belong to this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, well, he's one of those Egyptian, Hotep guys, because I see him with a book bag with a pyramid on it. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I mean, not necessarily. I like that coat no more than you would say, I don't know, if let's just say some suburban white guy had on a chain or something like that, on some jewelry, you wouldn't necessarily say, oh, he must be one of those rapper guys. You know what I mean? Because he has on a big chain. Not necessarily, right? So you can take things from certain cultures that you like and that you admire and infuse it. That's what the melting pot is all about. And I think the world was more of a melting pot back then, and is another good way of saying it. And back then I think you had people from all different cultures. That's why if you notice in Egypt and things like that, you see people of different shades. You know what I mean? Even over here in America, you see the hieroglyphs and things like that. It's people of different shades. When you do your history and understand that the Native Americans, so to speak, all of them didn't look exactly how you might have been taught traditionally to think of how they looked. You know what I mean? A lot of them look a lot like me. You know what I'm saying? More like me than they do, say, a Mexican. But the way that they teach us, who Native Americans were, you kind of think of the image of like a Mexican person. You know what I mean? Than you do, say, a Negroid, like somebody like me. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. Like, it's a lot to it. It's a lot to think about. And it's good to think, and it's interesting, it's fun, and fun to do history. You think about certain questions, you think of certain things, and then now we can kind of at least go and look it up. Be careful what you look up, because it's a lot of stuff now where when people start waking up years ago or whatever, to combat it, a lot of it, what they start doing